A long time ago, on a comics page far, far away. Greetings and welcome to May the Panel Be With You, the Star Wars comic book show brought to you by the Punch Up Entertainment Network. I am your humble host, Mike Gargoni, and joining me, as always, the boosh to my thermal detonator, it's John Campbell.
Yeah, man, finally the thermal detonator takes center stage this week.
Hell yeah. Little sung hero, the thermal detonator from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, we're back in the Infinities. Oh, anything can happen. It's all mixed up and different.
It's all mixed up and different. Yes, we are just finishing up our coverage of the Marvel official comics adaptation of Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
And so, in order to really swing in the other direction, we have to go into a bizarre what-if story as we start to cover Star Wars Return of the Jedi, Infinities, #1,
Yes.
Tragedy on Tatooine.
It's a lot of colons in one title.
Look, when they throw the name of the issue on the cover, you have to acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. Tragedy on Tatooine. Yeah, I will say, this is always the one that's the most specific difference. Like, the other two are very easy to, like, pitch. This one's like, wait, what? But gets to some of the wildest choices eventually.
Yeah, and we'll get into exactly how those choices begin to unwind themselves, but the way this comic sort of develops, especially like early on, all it's really doing is like, okay, what if we delayed every event in this story by like a half hour? What happens?
Yeah.
And the results will surprise you.
I mean, so, because the thing about it is, you're like, the first one is like, what if Luke missed the Death Star? You're like, ooh, okay, all right, yeah. And
very
then the
consequential, yeah.
What if Luke died? What if we basically took Luke off the board?
Holy
what
moly.
happened? Yeah, that's crazy. This one is, what if a set of circumstances played out?
What the most granular aspect of this, and maybe we'll just get to it when we get to it, but like, we are talking about the first issue of Star Wars Infinities Return of the Jedi. This particular issue was released in November of 2003, so we're in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Just keep that in mind as we're reading this. Not that it's like super relevant. It was way more relevant in the Empire Strikes Back one, because they're like, oh, we know what Boba Fett's face looks like now.
Right, yes.
But in this one, a little less relevant, but just like keep in context the framework under which Star Wars is proceeding at this time of release.
Yes.
Let's creative team real quick.
Oh, yes, yeah.
We have a lot of people that we don't know. And that's because we're entering the Dark Horse era a little bit. And like our coverage is beginning to wind down a little bit on the Marvel era of Star Wars comics. And as we begin to ramp back up into the Dark Horse era, some of these names are going to be familiar. Some of these names are going to be one-offs because Dark Horse has this kind of tendency of just throwing people on books sometimes.
Absolutely. And that is the case here, because I don't offhand know any of these people.
So, on writing, we've got Adam Gallardo. On pencils, we've got Ryan Benjamin. On inks, we've got Salim Crawford. We also have a different Benjamin on
Joel Benjamin.
On colors.
On colors, yeah.
Is it the brothers Benjamin, or are these two distinct Benjamins?
That I don't know. That I don't. I gotta say, we just learned who Ryan Benjamin was right before we started recording. So, I don't know.
Who knows? But we got letters by Michael David Thomas. We have a cover by Rodolfo Migliari.
I just love the name.
Is that Rodolfo. A soft G? I'm not sure. Migliari is what I'm going to say.
Migliari seems right to me.
And we've got a name we've got to get ourselves familiar with here, and that is editing by Randy Stradley.
Yeah, Randy Stradley is going to be somebody who, as we enter the Dark Horse era, more regularly on the show, that name is going to be around in everything we cover, basically.
Yeah, and I think we'll get into him a little bit more in depth when we start covering regular series. But
Yeah,
that's the new Jim Shooter. Keep that in mind.
100%. This guy will come to, define a whole era of Star Wars comics.
Yeah. But speaking of Migliara, I'm already messing up his name. Speaking of Migliari, let's look at that cover of his.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I like it.
It's way different than the covers we've been used to with the Dark Horse stuff so far.
It's very okay, there's a sense of familiarity here because we've got Leia in her bounty hunter costume, but with the helmet off. We've got Chewie kind of howling up at the sky. We see Slave One moving off in the distance. Lando in disguise here. They're all in the sail barge, and in the background, Jabba's palace is on fire.
Yeah.
So immediately you're like, there are things here I recognize, but some things are wrong.
And we've got Chewie kind of howling, and Leia and Lando are looking at each other like, what are we going to do?
And the top bar of the cover here kind of lets you know what's going to happen here, which is a plan derailed, a hero lost. Uh-oh.
Pretty good marketing there. That you're going to want to pick that up with if that's the cover, right?
Yeah, for sure.
What does that mean? Who could that be? The answer may surprise you.
The answer may surprise you. So we've got our Infinities logo here. I wish they'd bring back the Infinities style and just storytelling mechanics.
The world of endless Star Wars possibilities, except for this is the last one.
Yeah, there have never been any other Star Wars Infinities. This one is not none of the Star Wars Infinities books have followed up on each other, let alone been followed up on.
No. They are all individual what ifs. I mean, that would be the thing now, right? Is that you could just literally do Star Wars what if.
Yeah, I mean, but why don't they do that? It still boggles my mind.
Because they did. Did you read the Aliens What If, which I thought was fantastic?
Yeah,
Paul Reiser wrote. I thought that was great.
Mm-hmm. A lot of fun.
The what if Carter Burke survived aliens?
Right.
And he ends up in middle management. It's really funny. It's really well done. Basically the idea being that at Weyland-Yutani, he would not be celebrated. It'd be like, thanks, back to your office job, drone.
Right. There's just so much more Star Wars now that they could be doing these what ifs.
Oh my God. I mean, because you could do a whole prequel thing, you could do a whole sequel thing, you could do the Disney Plus shows. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
So many options within the Clone Wars.
Oh, tons. Yeah, I mean, the entirety of the animated stuff. Yeah, I mean, even the comics. Really, you could start doing what ifs with the comics if you wanted to. No, I mean, that could be an ongoing series of Star Wars what ifs. It does feel like maybe they're leaving money on the table, which I know Disney hates to do. They really love to collect all that money that's on the table.
Oh, they love that table money.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into exactly what we know and what we don't know, because we are on, of course, we can never escape it, Tatooine.
The most important planet in all of Star Wars.
Despite the dialogue that Luke says in the first movie that says exactly otherwise.
Yeah, it ends up being the singular turning point of the entire conflict. But yes, we're on Tatooine. A negotiation is taking place between the notorious crime lord Jabba the Hutt and a bounty hunter who calls himself Boosh.
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 That is another one of those names that only ever appears on toy boxes.
Yep. Absolutely, because that's why it's Boosh, not Bausch. Boosh. And yes, we're as all of these do start with a familiar scene, which is Leia in disguise as this bounty hunter has brought Chewbacca to Jabba the Hutt.
Mm-hmm. We got Lando in disguise hiding in the corner. We got Han Solo trapped in carbonite over on the wall. This is all familiar.
Absolutely. And so it's all seeming to go as planned.
And then this is where our twist of fate happens. Because in this scene originally, we have Leia negotiating, pressing her advantage, saying 50,000, 3PO translating to Jabba, and then in a fit of rage, Jabba the Hutt hits 3PO, he gets comically knocked backwards, and then pops up and says, "What did I do?" But the twist of fate, the strange circumstance which changes all of realities in Return of the Jedi, Star Wars Infinities, is 3PO trips.
Jabba hit him slightly harder.
Yes.
Because they say even a simple clue more forceful than expected or intended. I mean, it really is like this comedy of errors in the Return of the Jedi one. It's like this to this to this. Like 4 things go wrong in the right order and it changes Return of the Jedi. It's not as easy. Once again, it's so much more specific than the other two, which are like singular big change. This is like a few little changes. And so yes, 3PO goes down.
Rube Goldberg machine, that happens.
Apparently his head is not on there very well because he goes down and that thing pops right off.
His head just pops right off, rolls across. We see Bib Fortuna kind of like scrambling to go grab it.
Oh, I've got it. Yeah.
So, we have our bit of dictation here saying, even a simple blow, more forceful than expected or intended, can send it crashing to the ground to be irretrievably lost. That will say, like, though, destiny and the future.
And this is interesting that we're talking about this, of course, right after we did the Return of the Jedi adaptation, because we talked about the sort of improv nature of the plan in that movie. And yet here something goes wrong and Leia immediately panics.
Because on this next page, we have her sort of trying to cover here. We have Jabba continuing to talk in Huttese, and then Leia continuing in on whatever the Boosh language is. But then Jabba being like, I can't understand this person now, I've lost my translator, kill this bounty hunter. And then Leia breaking face and going, oh, wait, hold on.
And then, Jabba's like, what? I do like Jabba going, what?
And Leia, breaking into Galactic Basic, says, I'm sure we can come to an agreement, as she pulls her helmet off, revealing Princess Leia. Ho-ho!
Why was this the move?
It would definitely be the thing that makes everyone stop for a second.
Although what I like is that his dramatic what reaction is to the use of Basic, not Princess Leia's presence.
Yeah. His reaction to Princess Leia is more like, ho, 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 ho. Oh, this is good. It's Princess Leia.
But when she spoke Basic, there's a whole close of him going, what?
Yeah, I mean, look, Jabba is a man of many different conflicting interests within his giant slug body.
So now she reveals she is Princess Leia, but then we move back to thermal detonator.
Because, yes, I am Princess Leia. But you know what else his armor was hiding, Jabba? Yeah. A thermal detonator.
Yeah, Princess Leia is big, but I raised you a thermal detonator.
Which gets about the reaction you'd expect when somebody pulls out a grenade. And that is that Boba Fett draws a gun.
Yeah, and then Lando pushes a Gamorrean guard into Boba.
Right, which throws off his shot, which means that Leia gets winged in the shoulder, which then drops the thermal detonator, which goes rolling across the thing. Again, this is just like a comedy of errors.
It really is. This is a fucking Pink Panther movie.
So then the live grenade is dropped, and everyone's like, run away!
Which is, I gotta say, I don't know where the panel, it's later. At some point, oh no, it's on the next page. The concept of Jabba slithering away is so hard to imagine.
I mean, we know that Jabba the Hutt, in practicality, if you don't consider that he's just a giant puppet, can in fact move.
Because we see that when he's a CGI creation in the prequels, but Return of the Jedi Jabba never moves.
Right, because he's a giant puppet and he's built into that soundstage.
So it's just, I have no context for this version of Jabba doing and he's up on that little platform. The idea of him going off of the thing would be like, oh God.
So
he's not going to get away very fast. Let's say that.
No, in fact, he has some trouble getting away here in a second. Yeah. But meanwhile, we have Boba Fett making a break for some decorative Han art.
Man, if this shit's going sideways, I'm taking Solo with me.
I mean, that's basically his play here.
Yeah. And meanwhile, 3PO's head is like, uh-oh, I'm right near the thermal detonator.
Yeah, so Boba Fett's getting out of here with Han Solo. 3PO is looking straight at this live grenade. Meanwhile, Leia's giving chase to Boba Fett.
Yep. Because obviously she wants her man back.
Leia's shot is a miss that hits with fateful consequences. Her other shots merely miss.
Yeah, we don't really get the full solution to this in this issue, but...
No, but we do see one of her shots with a scrack hit the side of the carbonite slab that Han is trapped in.
Which is, as we know, the control panel it looks like for the unfreezing Han. So that seems like that will be trouble down the road.
Most likely. We have here the start of something that's going to be a pretty consistent problem throughout this issue, and that is weird morphing faces.
Oh yeah, big time.
This is the first mild example that can maybe be forgiven for having different perspectives. Is we've got this really intense Leia face coming down the barrel of the gun, and then it shifts to a like softer, more kind of like anime-ish style as she turns to address Chewie and Lando.
Yeah. That's
but strap in because weird face morphology is going to be a thing going forward.
I will say this is, there is distinctly a kind of house style to Dark Horse Star Wars comic books.
Sure.
Because we haven't seen this artist before, I don't think, but we've definitely seen, this is in line with a lot of the Dark Horse stuff, which I will say is a little sloppier in general. There are examples that are, but then some of the cleaner art we're used to of Star Wars comics. Now, there's plenty of sloppy art at Marvel, too. No question.
No question.
Yeah.
This is the first we're seeing of Ryan Benjamin on our coverage. We'll maybe get to him again if we start covering bits and pieces of Star Wars Empire, but that is, again, deeper into the Dark Horse era.
Right. So it's, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, folks.
But yeah, Leia's saying, we got to get out of here. He's got Han. But Lando's like, hey, these hallways are a maze. We're never going to catch him. We need to get out of here because you're hurt.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, look, we have to regroup. We have to get to Luke, who I do like. We never see where Luke is in the movie, right? Until he just shows up there. I do like the idea that he's just out in the desert.
Well, we'll get to it because first, Leia is saying, hey, we got to go back for Threepio. And Lando says, there's no time.
Yeah. Well, once again, we get into different people's attachment to their droids.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we also have Jabba the Hutt having a little trouble here. He's screaming at Bib Fortuna, just like, pull, I'm stuck or something. I'm not quite sure why Jabba can't slither his way off this perch he was on.
Yeah. I can't get my fat tail off this thing.
Yeah. But anyway, there's a beeping that is getting faster and faster and faster. I love how the comic book does this, actually, with the lettering along the bottom of each panel. We start out with a beep, 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 and then we start getting more and more beeps along the bottom of the panel until they're all pushed together, all the letters are bleeding into each other, and then finally Jabba goes, wait, hold on, what's happening? And then, kaboom!
Yeah. Which is great. Although I will say, what is the fuse on this thing?
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of time here.
Yeah.
Whole conversation's happening.
Whole conversations, and our heroes get a good distance away from Jabba's palace before it explodes.
They sure do. But yeah, the talk about comedy image of Bib Fortuna trying to yank Jabba.
But then Bib Fortuna eventually flees, and so does Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb is out of there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And then, the single thermal detonator, which, again, in Star Wars has mostly been treated like a grenade, explodes the entirety of Jabba's palace.
I mean, the only thing that makes sense is the explosion of that had to impact with something else, right, that was flammable. He's got all that
nitroglycerin that was rattling around in C-3PO's body really took fire.
Well, you didn't know 3PO was full of nitro? Oh, yeah, the whole time. Yeah, absolutely. Why was he so nervous?
That makes sense to me.
I've got a body full of nitro.
Oh dear.
Yeah, why would that be the case? I don't know. Darth Vader built me. He's up to all kinds of shit.
Look, you use what you can when you're building a protocol droid on Tatooine.
Yeah, look, man. Little Annie, had to fill in what he could, and nitro was plentiful on that planet. Little did we know. Nitro was actually their main export.
No standing water, but just pools of nitroglycerin.
Oh, big time. Yeah, absolutely.
Jabba's palace is exploded and C-3PO is dead.
Mm-hmm. As is Jabba the Hutt, and it's all bad news.
Yeah. We get our heroes kind of getting out into the desert. They see Slave 1 taking off, Boba Fett having Han Solo and escaping.
Yep. Of course now Leia's like, we'll never find Han, but Lando's like, of course we will.
But first, we gotta find Luke,
who's hanging out in the desert. Although first though we gotta find a way to get to him, and Leia's like, I think I know a ship we can borrow.
I do like the shit-eating grin on Leia's face here.
Mm-hmm. And what is that? Of course, it's the sail barge.
Yeah, and who's been posted up on the sail barge? Why, it's R2-D2. So he shocks the guard and frees it up for everyone to come and steal this thing.
R2 is already working as a server on the sail barge.
Yeah, that tracks.
Does it?
Because the first thing that happens in Return of the Jedi is the droids show up to Jabba's palace.
That's right.
The message.
R2 shows up with Threepio. That's right. Yeah. Yes. Okay. That does make sense to some extent. I like that he's already got, whether there's people on the thing or not, he does have the serving tray, though.
This little one has spirit. Station him on the master's sail barge, and he will learn respect.
And hit me with what Greedo's people are.
Those are the Rhodians, of course. Yeah, this is just random Rhodian who gets butt shocked by R2.
Yeah. I'll just move past the term butt shocked.
I mean, what else would you call this, John? There is a panel that is of this Rhodian's butt getting tased.
A distinct butt shock in this thing.
I mean, I don't know what else you'd call it.
He gets zapped in the ass. No question about that. There he goes. And this is an interesting thing we don't really see in any of the movies, which is the ramp being lowered to the ground, of course, is how you would get into the sail barge.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
And then the briefest of moments given to Leia being like, I'm so sorry, we lost 3PO. And R2 going, boo, yoop.
Yep. I mean, I imagine that's a sad boo, yoop, but we don't really get a sense. He's like, good. Really, that guy yacked on and on and on. Jesus.
R2 being like, you have no idea how much more effective I'm going to be without him.
Oh, he was holding me back. And then Luke, just chilling in the desert.
Okay, so at first I thought it was just him in a random bit of the wasteland, right? But
no, you can see the burnt out
Owen
and Baruz. So he's just stewing in his own grief.
This is the Lars homestead, now a burnt-out crater with Luke in his black Jedi attire just chilling there, being like, yep, I'm sitting here where my aunt and uncle died.
Yep.
Which is a nice touch in the art. They never actually comment on it.
No, I'm surprised because of all the narration and stuff in this that they were able to resist the urge.
There's actually a little less narration than I was expecting, quite honestly, and it speaks to a more modern comic in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. We've gotten used to the insanity of the Marvel era, where they constantly have to tell us what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
This one is more filling in the gaps of, here we are in this part of Return of the Jedi, it's more setting the stage. Anyway, Luke's like, oh, hey, a sail barge. Did you get Han? They're like, well, we'll talk about it.
And this is where we get one of the weirdest Luke faces I've ever seen.
Holy God, this absolutely stood out to me too, of course. The weird.
For a minute, Luke turns into a wax figure of Owen Wilson. I don't know how else to describe this.
Oh, wow. I'm made of wax.
Am I wrong?
Weird. No, it's absolutely accurate. I was going to say he also has some David Spade qualities, but and the weird. I mean, everything about it is weird. Where it's like, Leia's like, no, we still have to find Han, and the idea that Luke's just like, oh well.
I mean, it's a little bit of the Jedi cool thing of just like, of course, we must trust in the Force. We'll split up. I'm going to go talk to some folks in Mos Eisley. You guys go check out Mos Espa. We're going to talk to some scumbags, and we'll figure it out.
It's a very sitcom-y depiction of the Jedi cool, though, of like,
yeah.
I don't know.
The face doesn't help. The face really doesn't help.
No, it also, I mean, it not only is it super weird expression, it doesn't look anything like Hamill. Where it then in the next panel, it's a pretty good likeness of Carrie Fisher. Once again, I don't need these to be dead-on likenesses. I just need them to be consistent designs, though.
Yeah, the consistency is what throws it.
That's the thing. It's like you can more make a cartoonier looking, Leia or Luke or whatever, but just pick one.
Yeah. So then we have the next in the sequence of this Rube Goldberg machine of incidences spiraling out of control because Luke says, I know you need to rejoin the Rebel fleet, and I need to return to Dagobah. We just have to hope that everyone can get along without us for a little while. Spoiler alert. They can't.
To Endor.
Cut to Endor. Hey, it's a Death Star. It's a new one. They're building it.
Mm-hmm. And you know this because Vader's first line is, the Death Star will be completed on schedule, my master.
You have done well. Now I sense you wish to continue your search for young Skywalker. Patience, my friend. I want you to remain close to me, Lord Vader. Lately, events run counter to how I envision them. It's like some sort of Infinities or something.
Yeah, is this implying that the Emperor is aware they're in a parallel reality?
Yes, 100% it is.
I guess that makes sense.
Weird frog-faced Emperor here. And again, like, he's on this strange bottom panel here, he looks like Gore the God Butcher.
Big time. Big time.
Obviously, this predates that by a lot.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the likeness.
But his nose disappears, which is my point here.
Yes, it definitely does.
But yes, this is definitely implying that Palpatine has sensed a shift in the fourth wall.
Yeah. George Lucas approved changes he did.
I sense a word. McClunky.
Say, are there new CGI altered things in the background of this scene? That would be really amazing. You can even tell he's in the special editions.
Yeah. So we then cut to Dagobah. Remember Dagobah? Where a certain puppet is dying?
Oh, wait, no, we just finished the adaptation. He's fine.
Yeah, in this one, they make it way more explicit that Yoda is, in fact, dying. And we have the ghost of Obi-Wan sitting here next to Yoda, being like, just hold on.
Yeah, this is a really interesting scene of, like, the ghost of Obi-Wan being like, just give him a second. Luke is on his way. Don't die yet, Yoda. Although, if you can just speak to him as a Force ghost, what does it fucking matter?
Don't know.
I will say, the Force ghost, the ease of these Force ghosts in Star Wars is a little bit like, well, then who cares? Like,
this is creating some strange tension that the comic book itself then like completely undoes in a matter of moments. I will get to it when we get to it, but
is that none of this costs, Luke information. He still gets all the information he needs. It's just from the ghosts of these guys.
Yeah. But Yoda is being like, hope so I do. Short my time is, and much does he still have to learn.
The other thing too, you got to imagine what did, especially at this point, because of course we know that like the ability of Force ghosts is a somewhat new phenomenon, is it not?
What, in like the timeline of Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, because they make a big deal about Qui-Gon's return being sort of unprecedented.
It's not unprecedented so much as this is like a small elite cadre of like Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Yoda who have learned to master an old technique.
Okay, so there you go. But it just seems like if you're like, hey, I'm literally talking to my old friend who's a ghost, I'm just saying what that would do to your perception of dying would be fascinating.
Yeah, I'm not saying that like in the Republic era, it's not like it was common practice for Force ghosts to be running around.
No, I mean, we see that, right? I mean, and once again, the way they talk about Qui-Gon's return is like, whoa.
Yeah.
So
Speaking
yeah, I
of
mean,
woes, cut back to Tatooine.
Common, although it does seem like it is now. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, Yoda's just like, I hope he shows up. Cut to yeah.
Luke going, you will tell me where to find Boba Fett.
Now did he go to Mos Eisley or Mos Espa?
He went to Mos Eisley.
Okay, he's at Mos Eisley, and they sent the others to Mos Espa.
So he's interviewing folks in a cantina, just basically Jedi mind tricking these people one at a time to say, tell me where Boba Fett is. And then they say, I don't know where Boba Fett is.
And I love that Luke, I love this panel of Luke with his head like, oh, God. Jeez. Okay. Like, it implies all day he's just been talking to scumbags.
Just one at a time, mind tricking these people.
You will tell me where Boba Fett is. I don't know. All right, get out of here. Next. Yeah. He's got a ticket system. Now serving 16.
Until finally a couple of these goons are like, hey, we think you should leave.
Yeah. Hey, we just noticed what you've been doing, and I don't love it.
I think these guys are kind of in the right to like say, like, hey, maybe stop brainwashing the clientele and get the hell out of here.
And also, you haven't ordered anything. This is loitering, pal. Hey, this may be Tatooine, but we still got some laws, buddy.
How is Chalmers supposed to stay in business if he can't get some drinks ordered? Come on.
And then, I don't know, maybe it seems like an overreaction that Luke rips the table out and throws it at these guys.
This is rage-filled comic book Luke at his finest.
It really is, yeah. I get that he's frustrated, but god damn it, he's the one escalating this. They just said, hey, maybe you should leave, and he's like, eat table.
And then he decks this other guy, and then the third guy goes for a gun, and Luke pulls out his lightsaber.
And this guy's like, hey, whoa, I don't want any trouble, buddy.
It's like, we just told you to get out. You're escalating to violence.
And then he's just like, all right, well, I guess they don't know anything.
And again, we get some weird switches between Luke's face here. This top one's fine, and then we get into this weird, like, what if the plastic in the action figure mold got messed up?
Yeah. You thought it'd be fun to put him in the microwave. It wasn't. Especially not for Luke. But yeah, it's weird.
I do like this cutaway panel when he like contacts Leia being like, hey, how is it going on your end? And Leia saying like, it could be going better. And in the background is Chewie with a guy over his head.
That I do think is great. Like, and Leia's just like, yeah, that's happening over there. There's a guy clearly like already out on the floor and another guy's helping him up. And then Chewie's about to hurl another dude.
Right. If this was a more graphically violent comic book, Chewie would be beating a man to death with his own arm.
And then he says, I don't know, it just feels like we're running out of time. Cut to, at an end my time is.
Yeah, cut to Yoda dying.
And Obi-Wan going, no, please don't die. Could you not die for a little bit longer?
Try and hold on a little longer, old friend. And Yoda, his last words being like, he was meant to be here. What kept him so long, Luke?
So sad.
It's so sad.
He's just like, I thought Luke would be here. Oh.
Now, let's crank the sadness dial up a couple of notches. Can Yoda hear the ghost of Obi-Wan?
Oh, good Lord. That's like, what if he really is just, as far as he's concerned, dying alone?
Yeah, because they never actually, like, their dialogue never responds to one another.
His last words are just, Luke.
Yeah.
God damn.
It's so sad.
Yeah. He just even goes to everyone and is like, oh, this is a bummer.
Wow.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Good Lord. Basically waiting for his son to show up.
But thankfully, this triggers a Force vision in Luke back on Tatooine as he's like, oh, hey, I think Yoda just died.
Yeah, gotta get to Dagobah. And Leia's like, hope everything's okay. And Luke doesn't say it, but he might as well be like, it definitely isn't.
Though I do kind of like the art here because we have Leia being like, yeah, okay, fine, go take care of Jedi stuff. But the physicality he's drawn in is just like, you go do this. I guess I'm stuck trying to find our friend Han Solo.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Luke says, thank you for understanding, Leia, and her not looking at him saying, of course, and Luke, I hope it's nothing too bad.
Yeah, better not be.
It is, Yoda's dead.
Yeah. And then I guess somebody else noticed this too in the Force.
Yeah, this is a cut to Palpatine being like, that fourth wall, she's a humming yet again.
Hey, what's that? I just read in the script that Yoda died.
Yeah, I get, because it's never implied in the movie that Palpatine sensed that Yoda died.
No, and I mean, and I chalk that up to their connection is not established at all in the original trilogy.
Yeah, in fact, a lot of the stories written around this era, definitely, like, Yoda is trying to maintain the idea that he died.
Right, absolutely. So this, yeah, I mean, that does kind of also imply then that Palpatine was aware Yoda was out there, even.
This Palpatine, anyway.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, he's aware of the absence that occurs once Yoda dies.
Yeah. It raises questions, is what it is.
Oh, look, this whole book is just an endless, like, huh?
Nothing but questions. And that's the end of the issue.
Yeah.
That's our cliffhanger to go out on.
That is our cliffhanger. Palpatine being like, somewhere out in the galaxy, a puppet has faded away to nothing. So, we covered that really quickly for one of our usual coverages. Why? Because not a lot of words. It was just a lot of like stuff keeps happening.
I will say I have a feeling, and it's been a while since I've read a lot of these, that this could be the case for a lot of Dark Horse stuff. Because I do remember these were a little bit, I mean, they're quite a bit snappier than the Marvel stuff.
I want to get into this a little bit now at the start of this, because I think this is part of a larger conversation. One of the things we've done in this show is like track comic book history in a certain way.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Early 2000s is when we start really seeing this push in comics as a whole. And this is true in Marvel and DC, and Dark Horse is all in the same little milieu of this thing called widescreen storytelling.
Yes.
It is this shift in comic book storytelling to kind of, I don't want to say like ape cinematic stylings, but definitely like capture, taking influence. This is seen a lot in the Marvel stuff of this era, because this is when we have like the launches of the Ultimate line that like really does this to a big extent. We see big changes in like the all new X-Men era, where the stories are being told in this way, in which you have the art doing a lot more to speak for the medium rather than glutting everything up with big caption boxes.
Yeah, making things more visually driven and more, for lack of a better word, cinematic, right? I mean, which makes sense. You know, it does sort of feel like, film is the dominant visual medium in a lot of ways, at least in terms of like audience, penetration or whatever, right? I mean, in terms of like, everybody sees movies to some extent. Not everybody's reading comics. So the idea that things like comic books or video games are borrowing from movies feels inevitable, right?
But it also streamlines the medium of comics in a way that feels pretty natural, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's true through our coverage of the original Star Wars run, right? We're seeing this shift in how comic books present stories. And
Right.
early on, especially if you go back to like the 60s era, like Lee Ditko stuff, where it feels like the words and the pictures are fighting for real estate a lot of the time. And
For sure.
that,
And yeah, I've always felt to me like as comics go forward, there's sort of this like the words are letting their grasp get a little bit lighter, right? Like it's like they held on so much. We're still coming out of this like it's prose plus, and then as it goes on, as it starts to become more visual, it becomes more its own medium, where it is like, no, this is really driven by the art, and the words are supporting that. But
yeah.
ultimately, it is a visual medium. And
Yeah.
obviously that ebbs and flows. Different writers have different approaches, but in general, uh, the more visual, you know, starting place for it or whatever, the more letting the images dictate the story is becoming the norm.
Well, and especially in something like Star Wars, and we'll see this a lot going forward.
Yeah.
When Star Wars as a visual signifier, like what a Star Wars is visually, becomes more ingrained in
Yes.
pop culture. In the early days of Star Wars, we have a couple of iconic images here and there, but exactly like what constitutes a Star Wars homage image hasn't really cemented itself. Now we can see those sorts of homages in like, you draw Vader in a hallway somewhere, that's going to be an homage to a Rogue One or an A New Hope sequence.
Right.
If you draw a character looking off into the distance at multiple suns, you know what we're evoking.
Yeah, there is a visual language to Star Wars and to itself, and there are these sort of key, you know, and one could argue, as many people have, perhaps they've relied too much on those in places. You know, where it is sort of like everything needs to be connected and is a mirror image or a reflection or whatever of other parts of Star Wars. You know, that there's maybe some truth to that.
It is the idea that the story rhymes, right? That it echoes itself, and it might not be an exact duplication of what came before, but there are these rhythms and patterns to a Star Wars that creators can lean on to create these like visual and narrative distinctiveness, but sometimes you go too far.
Well, that I think what you just described is the goal of it, and sometimes it can feel like the snake eating its tail.
Yeah. Or the snake has completed eating its tail and is now chomping at its own neck.
I mean, a big thing I hear a lot from people, criticism, is Star Wars seems to be primarily inspired by other Star Wars now, as opposed to when Lucas was first creating it, and he's bringing in World War II movies and Kurosawa movies and Italian spaghetti westerns and stuff like that. So, you know, I don't know. And there's some truth to that, I think. I think, once again, don't paint with a broad brush.
Sure, but you can... I mean, this is maybe the biggest criticism of the sequel era, is that it relied on an appreciation and a nostalgia for older Star Wars in a way that made it so the stories they were trying to tell were continually handicapped by this allegiance to legacy.
Yes, but in reverse, when they actively tried to stop doing that, people flipped out.
Yes and no, though, right? Because, like, with the hindsight of time, Solo and Rogue One are the best examples of Star Wars that came out of that era.
Sure.
And the most defiant of the sequel trilogy proper, Last Jedi, is, in at least your and I opinion, like the best of those movies.
Oh,
and
no question.
And that's the one that is seeking to subvert that legacy. And Kylo Ren even has the line, "Kill the past."
Yeah, it was that's what I'm referencing. It's like people got bent out of shape. It's like, hey, people got really upset that the first one of those, this is just a copy. Then here's a movie that's radically defying this, and they're like, fuck that. Where's all the stuff we like?
And again, this is why you can't bow to the mob.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, I don't know, man. And yes,
because the mob doesn't know what it's want, and the mob isn't always the same mob.
Yeah, look, we are Last Jedi people.
I know.
and I know that there are people who really, that movie really burned them.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Rise of Skywalker. So, I mean, look, which tries to do both things and ends up doing neither. There you go. All right, we did it, folks. There's I don't want to go spin off for another hour here about that, because God knows we could. But yeah, no, I think it's an interesting. It is an interesting point, though. Is the other thing that we're getting not only is the comics language changes you're saying, but the collective knowledge of Star Wars is you're not going to hire anybody on these books who isn't at least on some level steeped in Star Wars, at least visually,
because it has existed for such a time as of the publication of these, and we're back in this hype mode of we're like hip deep in the prequels right now.
It's such an omnipresent part of culture, especially in a moment where, like then or even now, where there's actively new Star Wars coming out.
Right. But you have these books that are attempting to subvert the expectations of the original, while at the same time you have a prequel trilogy that even at the time people were already starting to turn against as like, oh, I think these are bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially after Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, actually, this what I would say is probably I don't know. Yeah, maybe the darkest moment for the prequels.
And obviously, like, when Revenge of the Sith comes out and you and I are sitting in theaters and going, holy shit, Anakin and Obi-Wan, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like but acknowledge the issues in Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but Revenge of the Sith, I will not hear it. I think that's a great movie.
I tend to agree.
Fantastic movie, yeah.
And I'll go to bat more for Phantom Menace than you will.
Yeah, I think you lean that, and I actually think Attack of the Clones is a better movie, even if it has some of the worst individual moments. As a film, it holds together a lot better than the mess that is Phantom Menace.
They're both structurally a mess.
Oh yeah. They suffer from similar problems, but in like different directions.
Yeah.
They're interesting. Both have their moments though, and I think the some of Attack of the Clones works better. But anyway,
but I think it's interesting, like, dialogue that this particular book is in with the general, like, acknowledgement of what makes Star Wars this own self-referential thing that we're talking about, and the language they're using to tell that story through comic books is something we're investigating through this coverage, but also, like, I think there is a knee-jerk reaction from us when we see a weird Luke face to go like, well, this is just bad, but also we have to acknowledge that there is an exploration of, like, visual language that's still happening here.
For sure.
But also Luke faces are bad.
Well, I mean, once again, it's within if Luke's face was drawn weird throughout the book, I'd be like, well, that's a weird artistic choice. But here, where it's inconsistent, it's more like, all right, now it feels like this is a problem.
Yeah, this is more an issue of lackluster oversight and, like, maybe thinking issues and whatnot.
I have no idea how these were produced, but I swear every time we read a Dark Horse book, everything feels rushed. It just feels like, that's why I don't even want to blame the penciler too much. I mean, this may have been a draft and they went like publish it. He's like, I wasn't done with that. Oh.
Slap some inks on this thing. Get it out the door.
Yeah, we'll talk about Randy Stradley extensively later, but I do put a lot of it on him, as it seems like ultimately the buck stopped with him, and I do think some of the product is great, but some of it is legitimately a little sloppy. It just is.
And this is also an era where Dark Horse is really leaning on some of the crutches of IP books.
Yeah.
Keeping the house afloat.
Big time. Yeah, big time. I mean, this is...
Because we can all acknowledge Hellboy is great. Hellboy is amazing.
Yeah, but Hellboy... The thing about Hellboy, right, is that is so purely the creation of Mike Mignola that they were... I mean, I don't want to say they had nothing to do with it, but it is sort of like, in some ways, they were lucky he did it for them. Because I feel like, Mignola, wherever Mignola did Hellboy, it would have been like that.
If that had been done at Image or Vertigo, it would have been.
It does. Yeah. It just feels like that, and I am glad now that it does feel like Dark Horse under current management is doing more of that. Bring in people like Jeff Lemire to do things like Black Hammer. There's a reason Bendis is there now. Like, hire talented people and then just kind of let them do their own stuff.
Bendis is there because it's a 10-minute commute, John.
But I mean, they are letting him create whole new things
It's
that are,
true.
which I'm sure he's thrilled about, and is, people can get off his ass about his Superman run.
Hey, he's coming back to Avengers next, so strap in.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. What more is there to do, Bendis?
Avengers reassembled.
Yeah, I'm curious because once again, it just seems like he. I think he's just doing a story. I don't think he's actually like taking over, is he?
I have no idea. All I know is I saw a big splash page that says Bendis is back, Avengers number 800 or whatever.
Yeah, he is one of the. There's going to be a Bendis and Bagley story in there.
Okay.
Now, I don't know
Bagley doing interiors again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I thought he'd retired from doing interiors.
I think this is just it's a one-off, is my guess.
Okay.
Because Bendis is coming back, so I mean that'll be fun.
Yeah.
But he wrote Avengers for so long that it just feels like, have all the stories not been told? It's rare. In comics. It is very rare to see someone have a super long run on a character or book and then come back to it, unless it's something like this, right?
I was going to say the only other example I can think of is Claremont.
Yeah, but Claremont can't let them go, right? Like Claremont and X-Men is a different thing.
Claremont, whenever he comes back to write X-Men, is just like, no, everyone else who's done it in the interim, you're incorrect.
Yeah, Daddy's home. Well, hey, if you want more from us, and God knows you should, that you can head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/punchupent. That's punchupent. Get cool, exclusive bonus content, as well as help out all the shows on the Punch Up Entertainment Network. Your support is greatly appreciated. Love our patrons. And boy, lots of content. I can't believe how much content's on that page.
Just an absolute an infinity's worth of content. Because
it sure is.
Between that and the alternate reality that is our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@punchupentertainment, you can find an entire multiverse of Punch Up Entertainment nonsense, and that includes the best way to enjoy this show, which is reading the comic along with us, see some of those weird Luke faces we were talking about.
Indeed.
And we also have our YouTube exclusive stuff like Punch Up Plays, where Elliot Lewis and I are playing through the Mass Effect franchise. We got our Material Components, The Shadow Kingdom. That's our mini campaign that's going to be YouTube exclusive. Very cool soundscapes made by our good friend Reed Morris. And I believe you have some other like YouTube exclusive stuff that's happening over there, John?
We're going to be doing some movie reactions. Yeah, absolutely. More information about those that are coming. We're just starting to record those. But yeah, there will be some live, watch-alongs.
Can't wait. But while you're there, please like, comment, subscribe. Help us wield that algorithm like the Force itself and channel its power into us. We really appreciate it.
May the algorithm be with you.
But I think that is going to do it for us this week. As always, I have been Mike Gargoni.
I'm John Campbell.
And remember, may the panel be with you.